Hey, Scrapbook friends, it's Nicole, and I'm here with my contribution to the March 2024 edition of the Savvy Scrapbookers. If you're not familiar with this, this is a YouTube collaboration that I do with my good friends Debbie Martin and Donna Guest, where every month we get together virtually and divide up one of the paper packs from current Creative Memories collection, and then either the stickers or the embellishments that go along with them. And then I make one double page layout, Debbie makes a double page layout, Donna makes a double page layout. So if you choose to follow along with us, when you're done, you'll end up with 3 double page layouts or 6 single pages that you can use in your own scrapbooks without any overlap of supplies and very little waste. So, you're not gonna have to buy 3 packs of paper because we all chose the wide stripe or whatever. It's been really fun. This is our 2nd year of doing it. We've got some great feedback and I have loved the comments and the interaction we've had with you guys. So this month we have chosen to use something blue. And this was a little tricky because this is really designed to be Creative Memories wedding collection for the next 2 years. They usually keep the permanent collections, wedding, baby, travel, theme park, about 2 years. And so we had one called Devotion, which was very, very neutral. And some people loved that and other people didn't love it much at all. And so this year they gave us something with a lot more color, which happens to be blue. Anytime we've had blue collections, they've been very, very popular. So that's what we chose to use this time for our collaboration. And I did choose to add a piece of shimmer, Starry Night Shimmer paper because I love the shimmer papers, but I felt like it needed something a little bit less patterny. So for mine, the first paper I chose was this wide stripe. I love this stripe from the first time I saw it. I'm not much for plaids, but I really love a stripe. So I chose the wide stripe here. I actually chose the green foliage right here, but in the end I used the green stripe, Go Stripes, and then the 2 florals. There's a blue floral and a white floral. So these 4 designer papers, 1 sheet of Starry Night Shimmer cardstock. Creative Memories calls it cardstock, but it's really more of like a paperweight. And we're going to be creating this layout, which I think actually holds 8 photos when we're done. So I do have pictures to put on the one that I do for you. And I changed up what I was going to do a little bit. So the embellishments are going to be a little bit different because of the pictures that I chose. I was going to do pictures with my husband, but I think you'll agree that the pictures I chose are going to be even better. And to show to you, this doesn't have to be about love, wedding, any of that stuff. All right, so let's get started. So because I don't have 2 of the same of any papers, I tried to kind of come up with something that would be, that, I could maybe use these 2 as my base pages. I couldn't do it. All my pictures are vertical. And so I wanted something with some horizontal lines. And so we are going to do a little bit of welding. So hopefully, if you hate welding, you're welcome to stick this onto another piece of paper. But hopefully I have shown you that welding is nothing to be afraid of. So we're going to start by creating our base pages, which is going to be the white kind of floral at the top and the green at the bottom. But to stick that together, we're going to need a little piece of this. So let's start by cutting our blue floral. And we're going to use this on the layout. We need 2 4x12" pieces to go on the layout. So I'm going to cut those first. And then the 4 inches that are left, I'm just going to cut 2 1/2" strips. And you might not need these just because the way the weld is going to go, but this is the way I know how to weld. And this piece might be a little redundant. You could also just use a piece of scrap paper or even a piece from the paper insert sheet. You can always use that. But we're going to just use those 2 little strips of cardstock. So this 3-inch piece now you can set aside. We may use it for a little journal box, but that's optional. I have the 2 4-inch pieces and then the 2 1/2" pieces. Then I want to take the 2 base pieces and I'm going to stack them and cut them. And I'll tell you why in just a second, but I'm going to put the green on top and the floral. This is the direction I want it to show, but I want the green on top to make sure that I cut in the right way over the stripes, which is against the grain of the stripe, which is the way I almost always cut my stripes. And we're going to cut it right in half at 6 inches. But paper has a little bit of a manufacturing tolerance. And so not always when you put these together are they exactly the same. Although I did pretty well this time, if I do say so myself. So I'm going to keep these two pieces just the way I cut them. And so then when I go to stick them together, what I like to do is to reverse them so that when I stick them together, I'm using the manufacturer's cut and not my own cut, just in case. And so I want this piece to go with this and this piece to go with this. All right. And this one you can just go ahead and weld together on the top. Or if you want, you could use the other side. If you like this other side better than the florals and the stripe, you're welcome to do that. But I really liked the floral and the green stripe. And so I'm welding from the top. I'm going to take my regular tape runner and I'm going to go right along the seam. And I like to go straight, like perpendicular, because the tape runner comes out in these little single tabs. Let's see if I can get one piece off. All right, so you just get one little piece like this, but it's solid, a solid little piece, about 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch across. And so by doing this straight on, I'm basically taping these together. All right. And because I know that this is 3/8 of an inch, when I now go and take my 1/2 inch strip, I'm just going to line this up on the side and cover over those pieces. It's going to fit. There's not going to be any poking out the side because I know that this is narrower than the 1/2 inch strip that I used. So you could just use it like this on a layout. I think, you know, this is pretty, and to do on purpose, have your welding strip show can make some nice decorative effects. And now I don't remember which one of these was the manufacturer's edge and which was my edge. So we'll just have to hope for the best. I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing. When I'm holding it together with my hands, I kind of like to start in the middle. And I'm just putting, you know, maybe 1/4 inch. You really do not need a lot of adhesive. Our adhesive is super strong and it's gonna hold it together. I don't know that this works as well with repositionable. I mean, I guess that in that case, the welding strip is holding it together. Right now, I feel like the tape is holding these pieces together and the welding strip just covers up the stickiness. So I've seen welding done where they put the adhesive on this strip and then try to stick it down, and that has never really worked for me. I'm just not precise enough. But having the tape on the base and then putting the strip over the top, that has worked really well for me. So those are going to be our two pieces. And the reason I like to stack them and cut them is because if you don't cut exactly, like if it had lined up like this, it wouldn't matter because we're going to cover something up. But you'd want them to be the same. But even if this line had been off a little bit, it's just easier to match them. We're gonna cover that, and that way both of your pieces end up being exactly the same. So now we're gonna take our piece of Starry Night Shimmer, and we're also gonna cut that in half at 6 inches. And again, paper can have a manufacturing tolerance of up to about 1/8 of an inch. So I always like to actually line my paper up and just see, so this one looks like it's a smidge wider, but not enough that it's going to matter. But sometimes it's a little bit wider than that. And so those pieces are going to come here and here, and we're going to center those in the middle. But before we do that, one of the 4-inch flower strips, I want to put on all the way to the left-hand side of the layout. So I've got the white with the blue flowers at the top and the green stripe at the bottom. I'm just going to put this piece of the blue floral. I'm getting to the very end of my tape runner, so I can feel it's not coming off quite as easily as it does when it's new. So I'll stick this down all the way to the edge. And then I'm saving the other piece for later. And then I want to take the this blue Starry Night Shimmer, and I want to center it. And so I'm going to use my grid, my matte grid on my desk, but I'm also going to use the 0 centering ruler right here to help me get it centered exactly. All right, so I'm going to put some adhesive. And this is why I said you probably could have left off that welding strip, because this is going to cover that, but it just feels like it was easier to make sure my base was welded together. So this is a 6-inch on my 0 centering ruler. I'm going to put it down here at the 3 and be at the 3 on the top. And then we'll stick that down. And I did go over the top on this one, over the top of the blue floral on this side. And then of course we don't have the blue floral on this side yet. We're going to put that, but we're doing the same thing. And once again, like I always do, I turned over my paper, even though it's the same on both sides. All right, we're going to line this up. Do that 3. And so now when I put those together, hopefully they will line up exactly right. Ta-da. All right. And then the next thing we want to do, oh, I forgot to cut my next piece, is we want to do the wide stripe, which is this piece. And this is the piece I like the most. I chose to do a 1.5-inch strip. If you don't love this paper as much as I do, you could use this teal diamond on the back, or you could cut a narrower stripe. But I'm going to do a 1.5-inch stripe. I'm going to cut 4 of them, so I can have them on the top and bottom of both sides of this blue shimmer paper. Sorry, it's called Starry Night Shimmer. But you know what I mean. Blue, Starry Night, same. All right, so we got those 4, and I think that's all the cutting we need to do. All right, when I put these down, I want them to be the same. You can do them, you know, so they kind of mirror each other when it's with a stripe like this. And that, you know, that can look okay. And I don't think that would bother anybody. You know, no one's going to be drawn to that. But I like to do them the same. And then whatever you do up here, you want to do the same on the bottom, so that it looks like you have this piece of striped paper behind it. It's going to give you that fake layering look. And of course we do have some layering because we have the florals and the stripes behind it. So let me just stick these down. Hopefully I'm not running out of tape, which I'm sure I am, but I have a refill handy. And I love to do borders like this because you can just butt it up against the piece that you've already got put down there. So since that one we know is straight, I can just butt that up against the edge, make sure nothing's showing through. Do the same thing here. Lining up with the edge of the paper and the edge of this Starry Night Shimmer. I might be able to talk about a little tape runner hiccup that's been happening. I think I've done it to this one too. We'll see in just a minute. Because it's just not rolling very smoothly, and that's a bad sign. Okay, I can tell by looking in here that this is going to be one of our little lessons. So sometimes when you're scrapbooking along, you're going to find that this little piece, this little white piece of your tape runner refill has broken off. Sometimes it'll just fall off. And people say to me, I got a bad refill. And almost always the problem is not with the refill, it is with the case. So if you look here on my case, you can see that this little piece has broken off. There's like a little L-shaped piece, and mine is broken. And because of that, the little bracing piece that was attached to the tape runner refill itself had nothing to rest on. Let me grab a refill and I'll show you. All right, so here's a brand new refill. Let me zoom down. And hopefully you can see that right here underneath the tape is that little plastic piece. It's right there. And when you put it in a functioning tape case, let's see, I only have a red one. This is my mini case, but I don't have any mini tape in it right now. But you can see there's that little L-shaped piece that is broken on this one. Oh yeah, way better zoomed in. See that little broken off piece? So this one is intact. So when I put my tape runner in, and always I like to remind myself that the tape, sticky tape, lines up with this little white protective piece. So when I put my my tape in there, that little L brackets against that little clear plastic piece. So when I'm scrapbooking away and I push down on it, that holds it in place and keeps it from being too wiggly, moving around too much. But when this piece breaks off, it allows you to press too hard, and then this little plastic piece, wherever I put it, has nothing to rest on. So if you're ever having trouble with your tape runners breaking, check this piece. And it's probably that. So I will still use this one, but I'm not going to use it here while you guys are watching because it's a little fiddly. But I'm going to use this now in my old red case. And that's way faster. And some of it is pressing too hard. And I know that I am guilty of that. Oh, that was too fast. That one came out too fast. All right, so I want it to be this way. So sorry for that impromptu little tape runner lesson. Oh, there's that clear plastic piece I was looking for. All right, so that's what I want to do with these two pieces. And then I'm going to take, sorry. Then I'm going to take this 4-inch piece again and put it, I want to center this on this layout. So I'm going to have 4 inches on this side, 4 inches on this side. Little extra came off when I was merrily taping away. And I'm going to then, again, I'll use my zero centering ruler. You could use your mat. You could just eyeball it. But because of the way I'm going to cut my photos, I want this to be as centered as I can. So this is going to be right at 4 inches here in the middle of the right-hand page. And when I originally started designing this layout, I was going to put it on like the outside. I was going to have it outside on this side and outside on the other side. But I decided it would be fun to do something a little bit different. And then when you look at my pictures, I think you'll agree that that was the right choice. Okay, so this is basically the layout. It's pretty plain right now. And that's because, of course, we're going to add our photos to it. And what I've discovered is with my digital camera, with my phone, I take a majority of my pictures now are horizontal. And so this one, basically this blue shimmer piece is going to be the matte for these pictures of my daughters. And my daughters are not twins. You guys who watch me know that, but they look very much alike. So this might be too many pictures of them. That picture might be a lot the same. But I couldn't decide which ones. But I have these where they're, looking at each other, kind of laughing about how much they look alike. Ha, we wore the same dress, even though, of course, they wore the same dress on purpose. And then just these funny pictures of them looking at each other. And so you could easily put two 4x6 photos. These are digital, so they're only 4x5.3 if you ever get the true digital size. But I'm going to cut these into squares, and I think I'm going to have 3 squares here, and then the 4x6 is going across. These two are really very much the same. This one we had them move so that the car wouldn't be in the background. So I was going to do all of these pictures, but now I'm thinking maybe I will just not do that one. And we'll just do like this. All right, but I am going to trim them down a little bit because I don't want to take up all of this space. And so I got lots of space that I can trim these down to be, well, these two I don't probably need to trim, but these others I'm going to trim to 3 3/4. But you can see because it's that digital size, it fits, I still have this space on the 6-inch. And because I chose not to do the third picture, which I really thought I was going to do, I'm going to have this place blank for some journaling or titles. And these I'm going to cut down to 3 3/4 square. But you could also just cut them to 3 3/4 width and that would work fine too. But I just thought this whole series of them kind of laughing at how alike they look, even though they are not twins, I thought was really fun. So 3 3/4 square. And so I think you'll find that this particular paper pack even though it's kind of marketed to be wedding, and definitely the stickers and the embellishments lean more toward wedding. The stickers especially lean more toward wedding. I think you're going to find that it's going to be really versatile for so many things. When I saw this paper, I thought this is exactly the same color as these dresses that girls were wearing. I could even maybe go a little bit smaller on these if I wanted to, which I might want to. And this one, I think I'm going to just cut down a little bit, just because I can. All right, did I cut that to 3 3/4? I think I might cut that to 3 1/2 actually, just to give me more of a gap between that and the mat. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick my photos down. They're just fresh from the printer. Got these at Walgreens, and they're a little curvy, but once you get them stuck down with your tape runner, then the curve that comes, the photo paper comes rolled up in those photo printers. So that's why they're curling. If they were a little bit older, I think they would have flattened out. Now, if you wanted to cut your photos smaller, you could use some of the extra paper. I thought about, I try not to leave you guys with a lot of scraps when we do these savvy videos. And I thought about using the back side of this as some photo mats on here. I think that actually might look really cute. And then cut my photos down to 3 1/2. And maybe I'll go back and do that. Maybe I'll do it at the end. We'll pull these up and see. But I'm gonna finish this one for now, and we'll see how it looks. I'm really tempted to cut the car out, but that is one of our cars, and someday it's going to be fun to say, oh, remember the little blue car we used to have? So I think I'll leave it in. Oops. Put that down here. Now, the embellishments that we have are, oh, this one too. And I think, what do you think? Should I center that? Should I put it down here, off center? I think I'm going to center it. Okay, I have this 3-inch piece that was left, and it's got the blue on the back, and I think I trimmed this down enough that I can use that as a mat for this, and I think I will. Make a little photo mat. I didn't plan to do that. That's not on my sample. But I think that's going to work. And while I'm here, I think I do maybe want to do those other mats. So this would be optional. You don't have to cut your photo down. You could put your photo just the same size. But I kind of like that right there. And I think I am going to go ahead and trim these down to 3 1/2 and cut this into some 3 3/4-inch mats. Because I have this, and I don't love to have a lot of pieces left over. I like to have, I like for us to use all the paper so you don't end up with little random scraps that now you're like, well, now what am I going to do with these? All right, so those are going to be our 3 3/4-inch mats. But that means I need to pull these guys up. And even though I use the permanent adhesive, you do have some grace period before this becomes super sticky and rips your paper. It may pull the color up a little bit, but it doesn't matter because I'm still going to cover over it. So I'm going to go ahead and put the mats down. I think I'm going to stick them down so that I can kind of position them. Of course, if you really like that blue floral, you might want to just have smaller photos anyway. But I like the contrast of the colors. All right, there's my mats. And now I'll trim these down. And I know that I can just because of the way they are. They're already at 3 3/4, so I can trim them down to 3 1/2. I don't want to, still try to keep those centered. I don't want to cut into my daughter's head. can't remember what order they were supposed to go in. I think this was down here. Or maybe it was up there. I guess it doesn't matter. They were just goofing off. This one I've already cut into her arm, so I'm going to come all the way over here to this one. They do look very much alike. They even get each other mixed up. Every now and again, one of them will take a picture of herself, you know, or see a picture of herself and then text me and say, oh no, I saw this picture and I thought it was, you know, my sister, and I couldn't tell which one of us it was, except I know I'm the only person that was at this event or whatever, which is very cute and gives them a little bit more forgiveness for the rest of us who often get them mixed up. And reminds me that it's very important for me to journal in my scrapbooks because I can tell them apart because they're not twins. But in the future, who knows what could happen? Somebody else might not be able to tell who is who. All right, I like that little hugging one. They're all stuck down. All right, and now we get to do some embellishments. And with this collection, the embellishments are pretty wedding specific. So you may decide that you don't want to use these embellishments if you're not doing wedding pictures. If you are doing wedding pictures, even if the wedding colors you had were not blue, I feel like the blue almost works as almost like jeans. You know how jeans match anything? I feel like the blue is kind of like the denim of scrapbook papers and you use it for anything. So a lot of these are very specific, you know, just married, the doves, I do. It was love at first sight. I think this would be really fun to use for like pictures of a new baby or a new puppy. So the embellishments I have to use are these leaves, kind of little drawn leaves, and then these little leaves, and then this camera with the love, and then I picked a couple of the frames. I think I also could have had this one with the heart flowers if I was doing birthday, but I have this frame, I chose this frame and this frame. And originally when I started this layout, I thought that I was going to do some pictures of me with my husband. But then as I was sorting through, I realized that I didn't have anything very current to use, but I was going to use this one because I think that's very sweet. But that could also be something for, you know, your best friend or your puppy or your, you know, saying goodbye to your dog or something like that would work. And so what I'm going to do is these are still hiking up. I'm going to put this down here as a little journal box. I'm going to put one of these leaves up here with the camera embellishment on top of it. I'm going to put that up on pop dots. So let me do that. So I'm going to put the leaves down first, just so I know that they're where I want them. And then I'm going to grab some foam squares. And I still have a few packs of the old foam squares left. I like the new ones so much better because you get a bunch of different sizes. But I'm trying to use up all these old ones. So, and I like to use several foam squares just so that the whole thing stays raised and doesn't get squished down once it's in my book. I'll put the little camera right there. I'm not going to stick that down until I write on it. And I don't know if I'm going to use this here or not, but I do want to use this leaf kind of up here and this one down here. I just think that adds a lot. And so if I do that, then it doesn't really, you know, we got the rule of threes and I've messed it up anyway. I also have that one. So maybe I'm going to do this and have just these leaves. You know, you can never have too many little leaves, right? All right, and I think I am going to do some journaling and then figure out a title. I think I'm going to use sticker letters, and I hope that the dark blue sticker letters will work right here along this stripe edge. I'll pull those out and we will decide if that works. But first, let me journal. I'll do that off camera and have that back, and then we'll come back and stick the stick the sticker letters down. All right, I think I am going to go ahead and use these blue collegiate letters. It's not quite the same exact blue. I was hoping for something a little bit more navy, but because we pulled in this Starry Night Shimmer, I think even though this is a little bit different, this is enough the same that it's going to work. And I'm just going to write not twins because they're not twins, but I think that'll be fun. And so if you haven't watched my videos before, you're not watching my Theme Park Thursday series, I wanted to show you kind of a tip that I use for positioning titles when I want to have them be very straight, and that's to use the zero centering ruler. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my letters off, and I'm just going to stick them on here temporarily. We do have a Titletopia, but it's not a straight one right now. And there are other ways you can, other straight edges you can use, but this is really working well for me. So I'm just going to put my sticker letters on here. And of course, it doesn't matter if your sticker letters are straight either. You can just put them kind of randomly. Somebody told me they call them dancing letters, and that's kind of fun. But I want these to be straight, and so I'm going to pull off all my stickers to say not twins. I might put an exclamation point on there afterwards. So now it's just going to help me to see the positioning. And I think I'm going to zoom down again. Hopefully I'll remember to zoom back up. All right, I didn't go all the way down. But that's going to help me decide, like, do I want to put it on this? Can I see it on the stripe, or do I want to put it up here on the flowers? I kind of like it up on the flowers a little bit better. I guess if I hadn't done blue, I could have done white over here. I thought I wanted it on this stripe. Because up there feels kind of high. I think it will. I think I'll do it up there. And you can see right here, I've got two little grid marks from the top of the stripe, but I only want it to be up. This is the bottom, so I only want it to be about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm actually going to flip it over and use it this way. And because I've got this piece on a foam square, I'm not going to go all the way over, but I'm going to position this so that the line lines up with the top of that stripe. And I'm going to go from the end, and I'm going to leave a little bit of space so that I can do an exclamation point. And I didn't stick these down very hard on the zero centering ruler, but I'm just kind of butting it up against there, and it's just making sure that my sticker letters are going on straight. And it just really works well for me to keep my letters straight. And for a long time, I was using my Cricut or my Silhouette to do titles because I just, would run out of ease or whatever. But I've discovered that it just is so much faster to use sticker letters. And because right now we've got these collegiate letters in so many colors and they have so many vowels, it's just been faster to use the stickers. All right, I like that. I like how that turned out. And now I'm just going to grab the punctuation page and put an exclamation point right there. And I think we're done. Let me zoom out. And we'll put both pieces on here. And there you can see my layout using Something Blue, which is a wedding collection, but it is not a wedding. It's just some cute pictures of my girls in kind of these blue and green plaid dresses from Christmas. And I know the lights are giving glare on the pictures, sorry. But I figure we like the lights so we can see what's going on. But here it is. I think it turned out really cute. You could easily have put another picture here, which I thought I was going to do. I didn't realize this one was going to be so much like that one. It's like they're just a little bit smaller in that picture. And so I'm just going to leave that off unless I decide to, I could do something like that, but I'm just going to leave it off, give a little bit of visual piece over here, and then have the bulk of my layout. If you had more of a story to tell, this would be a great place to add some journaling. You could use the back side of this blue that we use for the mat. Would be great for some journaling right there if you had some journaling. So I hope that you got some ideas from this. If you hate welding, you always can just stick these pieces onto a Creative Memories page or onto a piece of plain cardstock. You could even have taken 2 pieces of the Starry Night Shimmer cardstock and just put your stripes on top. But I liked it using the welding and not having all that extra paper. So what do you think? Do you think you can find uses for the something blue for not wedding? Do you think you're going to use it for wedding? I know that I have had some of my croppers have told me, oh, those colors are perfect for my son's wedding. And others have said, oh, those colors don't work at all. So I hope that you will enjoy the Something Blue collection. Do not let yourself be scared off by CM calling it their wedding collection. Ignore the embellishments and the stickers, but be sure to pick up this beautiful, beautiful blue paper. It's going to be so versatile for so many things. So now that you're done watching mine, go ahead and hop over to Donna and Debbie's videos. Their links will be in the description below. And when you're done, you'll have seen 3 different double page layouts, all of us using just one paper pack and one embellishment pack. And you're gonna have tons of embellishments left over. And with me, you're gonna have some paper left over too, although I did use the back of that green for those mats. So thanks so much. We'll be back next month with another edition of Savvy Scrapbookers. That's on the second Wednesday. But I will be back tomorrow with another episode in my Theme Park Thursday series. So I hope you'll join me for that. Thanks a lot and happy scrapbooking.